It is a big idea, a new world order.
The time has come for the world to move in a new direction.
When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order.
The affirmative task we have now, create a new world order.
For years, Washington was controlled by a sinister group of radical left Marxists, warmongers, and corrupt special interests who drained our wealth, attacked our liberties, obliterated our borders, and sucked our country dry. Not any longer.
What is up, guys? Tyson Dela Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. What is up? What is up? If you're catching this on the live, come on in. Come on in. If you're catching this on the replay, type in replay in the comment section. And we're starting a little something new. After this video is done, I'm going to go ahead and place some timestamps down at the bottom so you can, jump from story to story if you'd like to. But shout out to everybody catching this on the live. Dropping in on some different times. I will be back later on tonight. It will be a pre-recorded episode because tonight is my mom's birthday, and excuse the delay. I was dealing with some contractor issues in Arkansas, and it has been an absolute nightmare. Anyways, what is up, guys? What's up, Jason, Rob in the house, and Phyllis, Thomas, what is up? Hope everybody's doing amazing today. We got some stuff to get into today. Holy tamale. Holy tamale. Man, before we jump into that, I got to talk about, I'm going to go on a little tangent really quick, but I bought some properties in Arkansas, and it has been an absolute nightmare. I didn't account for weather conditions for delaying rehab and all this other stuff, but it has been a joy. It's like a noose around my neck, and I am glad. I'll be glad when they're off the books. Anyways, we got some stuff to get into today. We got government agency offices setting fire to paperwork and documents like they're auditioning for a Breaking Bad reboot. The House actually passing a budget without a reality show meltdown. And believe it or not, the Washington Post, guys, finally realized that journalism actually involves reporting facts and not just taking DNC talking points and press releases and slapping a headline on it. It only took them, like a century to figure that out? And if that's not enough, we got Elon bringing all the cars to the White House like it's a Tesla dealership, and Donald Trump saying, I want that one. We're going to jump into that. Meanwhile, Commerce Secretary is out here telling the media to shut up and let Donald Trump do his deals when it comes to tariffs. Speaking of media meltdowns, we have the VA secretary just publicly absolutely destroyed a fake news journalist trying to pull a fast one on him regarding veterans care. And honestly, I kind of felt bad for the journalist. Kind of. Not really, though. And we have Linda McMahon, who's basically suplexing the bloat in the Department of Education, swearing that education might actually be a thing again. And because we're living in a simulation, Utah just banned fluoride from public water, and half the internet is freaking out like they lost their mind control chip. And finally, get this, Trump made a shocking announcement about Greenland. Yep, we remember Greenland. He still wants it. And this time, it's not up for sale, but he's talking about an invasion. So it might be time for the Danish to learn English. And last but not least, we have Rosie O'Donnell. Rosie O'Donnell is gone. She's moving to Ireland, swearing not to return to America until America is safe again. So the country is officially in a better place already. What is up, everybody? Let's jump in to the news. All right, we have shredding documents and burning bags. Did you guys hear about this? This is absolutely ridiculous. What is up? What is up, Terry? What is up, Bob? What's up, Stacy? Did you guys hear about this? Phyllis in the house. White House responds to email from a senior USAID official ordering the destruction of documents. You only destroy documents for a couple different reasons, right? Oh, man. The White House on Tuesday evening responded to an email from a senior at USAID official ordering remaining staffers to destroy documents. The document shredding took place at the Ronald Reagan building on Tuesday. Thousands of USAID workers were placed on administrative leave so the building can be cleared out. This is what the email said. Listen to this email from Erica Carr. Shred as many documents and reserve the burn bags for when the shredder becomes unavailable or needs a break. What? It reminds me of that scene from The Wolf of Wall Street when they were burning everything. And this email was from the acting executive director, Erica Carr. Crazy. Crazy to me. You're only burning documents if you trying to get rid of evidence. This article from the Daily Mail, shred documents and burn bags. USAID employees received the email. U.S. Agency for International Development reportedly initiated a document destruction process as part of their broader administration measures for Donald Trump's plans to reorganize the federal agency. I want to know what you guys think about this. I want to know what you guys think about this. They are definitely trying to hide stuff, Terry. They are definitely trying to hide stuff. This email from Erica Carr, she's like, you got to burn everything. You burn everything. This is crazy. Trump administration said all documents designated for destruction are obsolete. This is what they said. The documents are obsolete, blah, blah, blah. I don't think so. I don't think so. And you know something's going awry when MSDNC says, hey, I think this is illegal. I think this is illegal.
As a former White House employee, about shredding and destroying documents. This was not only unethical, but I think illegal. But NBC News is reporting this. USAID staff is being told to shred and burn all their classified documents. Quote, the U.S. Agency for International Development is instructing its staff in Washington to shred and burn documents, according to an email obtained by NBC News. The document destruction was set to take place Tuesday, according to an email from Erica Carr, the agency's acting executive secretary. Quote, shred as many documents first and reserve the burn bags for when the shredder becomes unavailable or needs a break, Carr wrote. I worked in government for almost a decade. I've never heard of so much shredding being required that you would know ahead of time that, quote, the shredder would become unavailable or need a break. What is that about?
Right. I actually this morning got a message from somebody who left USAID earlier this year and passed along this email to me. And my response is naturally, is this standard operating procedure? And This individual said no, that they had never heard about burning or shredding of federal records at USAID. But then again, this individual told me they've never heard of the entire agency being gutted and their headquarters at the Ronald Reagan building being shut down. When are documents, burned by the State Department or USAID? Typically at an embassy when it is about to be overtaken, Marines have the authorization as a means of ensuring that classified records and personnel data do not get in the hands of individuals who are seen as threats. They do go and burn documents, but that's not what this situation is here. And I was talking to a national security records lawyer here who has already sent to the National Archives a demand to have the records stop from being destroyed. We should note that this was all taking place today here. And the way that this lawyer put it to me was that this is, number one, a violation of the Federal Records Act. Yeah. But number two, that there is a standard operating procedure when it comes to processing records. And unless all of these records were digitized or there was a clarity that, for example, records older than 10 years old that have been appropriately deemed by necessary officials as no longer having to be archived, may be terminated, those can then be ultimately destroyed. But this email is very explicit to these individuals who received it. Quote, shred as many documents first and reserve the burn bags for when the shredder becomes unavailable or needs a break. They were directed to go and clear out these classified safes and personnel documents from what used to be USAID headquarters. And Marco Rubio, the State Department that is now overseeing USAID, they just earlier this week said that 83% of the contracts that USAID oversaw have been eliminated. And the way that USAID official suggested to me is that if they're truly trying to get rid of waste, fraud, and abuse, many of these documents would have records as to exactly where payments have gone and how contracts have ultimately been executed across the world. And so if you are shredding and burning these documents, you're effectively removing a paper trail that could be paramount to actually understanding how USAID has executed and used its capacities overseas. And so much of that could be understood by these archived documents that were.
Exactly. Right? There's a protocol to burn documents. Shout out to Carol, first time listening. Let's give it up for Carol in the house. First time listening. Welcome. And Terry said, happy birthday to mom. Yeah, she's been blowing me up actually right now. So happy birthday to my mom. I'm going to be spending some time with my mom later on today. But, and then shout out to the moderators in the chat, by the way, moderators and everybody in the chat. But when it comes to this, okay, this is craziness to me that they are burning the evidence. They're burning. Terry says they're trying to hide stuff, and that's what they're doing. They're looking to hide all the slush fund, where all the money went, where everything's going, so there's no paper trail. Man Down Again says nobody's getting arrested. Yeah, right now nobody has gotten arrested. Phyllis says, we'll do anything to cover their butt. Absolutely. They will. This is bananas to me that they're burning documents. It's like a movie. Tina says it shouldn't be allowed by law, and it's not. It's illegal. This is an illegal act for them to burn these documents. People need to start going to jail. Yeah, I think so too. Government record retention is a law. Burning records is a felony. Exactly. This is bananas to me that they're burning these documents. They're trying to get rid of their paper trail for everything. Let me make sure I got everything lined up here. All right. So, next up, I don't even burn my documents. Okay? I don't even burn the documents. All right. We got New House passes Trump-backed budget plan to avert a government shutdown. Finally, they were talking about this on Friday. They finally came to a head today. I don't know why these ads keep showing up. Anyways, this is an article from Trending Politics News. House politicians united on Tuesday to pass a federal funding bill backed by Donald Trump after weeks of uncertainty and threats of potential holdouts. Every Republican voted in favor of the bill except for guess who? Thomas Massie, whose decision drew ire of President Trump. Massie voted to cancel out Rep. Jared Golden, however, who joined all additional House Republicans by voting in its favor. I got to switch some stuff over here.
The United States House of Representatives has passed a stopgap funding bill, moving the nation one step closer to avoiding a federal government shutdown. That deadline now just 3 days away. KCAU 9 Washington correspondent Hannah Brandt has the very latest in our top story tonight at 10 o'clock.
The House narrowly passed a spending bill tonight, with all Republicans but one voting for it and all Democrats but one voting against it.
We did our job today.
House Speaker Mike Johnson celebrated the passage of a short-term spending bill to keep the government funded through September. It includes a $6 billion boost to defense spending and shrinks non-defense spending by $13 billion. Relatively small adjustments to the overall top line of $1.7 trillion.
It freezes funding. It's a responsible thing to do.
Pressure from President Trump was key in getting Republicans on board.
He is the difference maker. I would never support this language, but I do trust Donald Trump.
And Republicans say this gives the Trump administration time to come up with a 2026 budget that makes bigger spending cuts.
This CR will allow government to continue operating, and it will allow DOJ to continue finding that waste, fraud, and abuse.
House Democratic leaders say that's exactly why their members opposed the bill.
We're not going to sign a blank check to the chaos and corruption coming out of the White House.
And they expressed concerns about what Republicans will do next.
Use this bill, this vehicle, to cut Social Security, to cut Medicaid, to cut the VA, and hand the cash to the rich.
But Speaker Johnson argues they have no plans to touch Social Security, Medicaid, or Medicare.
They've been lying and misrepresenting the facts about what's in the bill, and the American people can read it for themselves.
Now the bill heads over to the Senate, where it'll take bipartisan support to get it passed and to avoid Friday's shutdown deadline. In Washington, I'm Hannah Brandt.
Democrats really have nothing to run on right now. They're saying, "Oh, they're gonna cut Medicaid, they're gonna cut Medicare, they're gonna cut Social Security." They're not gonna cut any of that. They ran out of Trump's a Nazi to this is what they're going to cut because they have nothing to run on. They have no leadership, and this is what they're running on. They're running on this fear-mongering type energy.
Now, all of Siouxland lawmakers there in Washington voted yes on that spending bill, including Iowa's 4th Congressional District Representative Randy Feenstra, who released a statement on X saying in part, quote, "Now we continue our work to extend the Trump tax cuts, lock down our border, unleash American energy, and eliminate government waste." Meanwhile, the chairman of the Iowa Democratic Party also releasing a statement on that spending measure, saying in part, quote, "Our congressional representatives just showed us that they are more beholden to Donald Trump and Elon Musk than they are to the rest of us. We need a bipartisan solution to keep our government open."
Karoline says people need to go into jail for the USAID burn-in documents. I agree with that. Thanks, Thomas, for happy birthday to my mama. Ricardo says, "You're the man. Watch you every day." Shout out to you, Ricardo. Shout out to you, man. Really appreciate that. Thanks. You get a cheers. Where's my cheers button at? Here it is, right here. All right. Let me just run through some of this. Terry says, Carol's right. We need to start seeing accountability. This is what we voted for. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, honestly, it's somewhat disappointing that there hasn't been more accountability, but I understand that there's a bureaucracy behind it, specifically pertaining to the Epstein files and the JFK files that we were promised 30 days ago. Where are those at? Kash Patel recently came out today. I saw that right before I hopped on live and said that he's going to go after those individuals. They're going to start doing some lie detector tests and things like that. But accountability needs to be withheld here because there are some shady folks in some of these three-letter entities. Jason says, "You tired of winning yet? Not us." That is the truth. We're winning, but I'd like to see some more accountability. I would. All the news coming out, people burning documents. The Epstein thing is a whole nother scenario. It's an absolute whole nother scenario. I understand why. I don't understand why there hasn't been accountability for SDNY. The gentleman just resigned. Okay, he needs to be prosecuted for withholding documents and evidence to Pam Bondi. But situations like this with these burning documents, somebody needs to be held accountable. Somebody needs to be. Trump and the White House praise Washington Post for overhauling its newsroom. White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt, what an upgrade, by the way, from cringe Jean-Pierre, took a moment to commend the Washington Post over its recent editorial and newsroom changes that have sparked backlash against the outlet, specifically the Washington Post. At the White House briefing on Tuesday, Leavitt declared that the Washington Post and other mainstream media outlets are finally learning that more than half the country supports President Donald Trump, and what they're writing isn't helping. Jeff Bezos, who owns the Post, made waves last month when he announced drastic changes to the Post and the departure of the paper's opinion section or editorial section. Let's jump into what Ms. Leavitt had to say here. Oh, we're going to get an ad. Of course we're going to get an ad.
Baby. You got a fear of grinding?
Well, no, but I was just
keeping food waste out of...
Of course we're going to get an ad. Gina! Oh my God. Gina in the house, everybody. Gina Diamond in the house. I hope you're doing okay. Haven't seen you in a little bit. Steph's looking for you. Hope you're doing amazing, Gina. All right, here we go.
I'd like to commend the Washington Post, who I believe is in the room today. According to a new report from Axios, the Washington Post is overhauling their newsroom structure. It appears that the mainstream media, including the Post, is finally learning that having disdain for more than half of the country who supports this president does not help you sell newspapers. It's not a very good business model. And that's why we have people in our new media seat. And today we have Sargar Anetti, who is the host of Breaking Points, a popular political YouTube news and podcast show that has racked up nearly 1 billion views on YouTube, several 100 million podcast downloads since its launch in June 2021. He's also a former member of the White House Correspondents Association, but is now a part of the thriving independent media.
Hello.
I have no idea what happened there. Karoline Leavitt also said that, let me get my banners right. Karoline Leavitt also said that it's insulting and gets in a testy exchange with the AP. For some reason, I thought AP was kicked out of White House briefings. but looks like they came back. White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt got into a heated debate with the Associated Press at the White House reporter. He confronted her on President Donald Trump's tariffs. Trump initially announced 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico, along with 10% tariffs on China over the nation's involvement in allowing illegal immigration and drugs to flood into the U.S. Though he has doubled the tariffs on Canada, steel, and aluminum, Trump is imposing tax hikes through tariffs through Canada, Mexico, and China rather than implementing tax cuts he campaigned on, which Karoline Leavitt immediately disputed.
Thanks, Karoline.
You're welcome.
If we could just step back for a second. When President Trump last addressed the BRT when he was on the campaign trail, his big push was on tax cuts. He's going there today as he's proposing tax hikes in the form of tariffs.
Not
and
true.
I'm curious
He's not doing
why
that.
he's prioritizing that over the tax cuts.
He's actually not implementing tax hikes. Tariffs are a tax hike on foreign countries that, again, have been ripping us off. Tariffs are a tax cut for the American people, and the president is a staunch advocate of tax cuts. As you know, he campaigned on no taxes on tips, no taxes on overtime, no taxes on Social Security benefits. He is committed to all three of those things, and he expects Congress to pass them later this year.
I'm sorry, have you ever paid a tariff? Because I have.
That's
they
it.
don't get charged on foreign companies, they get charged on the importers.
And ultimately, when we have fair and balanced trade, which the American people have not seen in decades, as I said at the beginning, revenues will stay here, wages will go up, and our country will be made wealthy again. And I think it's insulting that you are trying to test my knowledge of economics and the decisions that this president has made. I'm now regret giving a question to the Associated Press. Mary, go ahead.
I would not mess with Karoline Leavitt. I would definitely not mess with Karoline Leavitt. She doesn't need highlights and bookmarks in her big binder and paper clips to address the issues that the Trump administration and the Trump team are addressing to the American people. She can speak it right off the cuff. I want to know how many of you guys would mess with Karoline Leavitt. I wouldn't. Oh, man. Karoline Leavitt also addressed the concerns of a potential recession, in an interview with Donald Trump on Sunday with Maria on Fox. I think the question kind of caught Donald Trump off guard just a little bit when she asked him about a potential looming recession. And he said there's going to be some transition period. And I spoke about this on my video yesterday about a potential transition period. And just when we're implementing these tariffs, when we're implementing these things, there is going to be a small transition period. We got to keep in mind they are draining the swamp, if you would. They're taking out all the bad apples, all the bad leadership, all the bad employees, and they're rebuilding from the ground up. So there is going to be some type of transition. I said this on my video yesterday, I believe it was, stating that, hey, all the things that are being implemented this year, me personally, in my personal opinion, and Thomas might have a different opinion on this, but we won't see any of this really taking effect until next year, prior to midterms. That's just what I'm predicting, me personally. But we've already seen significant decreases in gas prices. And have you noticed the Democrats are not complaining about egg prices anymore because eggs have dropped? But we do got to tighten up the belts a little bit. Donald Trump and the team, they're cleaning up the mess. It's just like cleaning out your garage, okay? When I clean out my garage, I got to put everything out of the garage or move everything to one side, clean it, and then reorganize it. Karoline Leavitt addresses this concerns about a potential recession during that same presser.
for you, if I may. First is first on the stock market. So currently it's the 25th anniversary today of the dot-com bubble crash. There's a lot of concern for a lot of Americans right now about the state of the economy. President Trump has refused to rule out a recession. Secretary Lutnick, however, has told us there will not be one. So can the White House just tell and assure Americans today that there's not going to be a recession?
Well, there's a lot to unpack there. So let me start by saying that, first of all, when it comes to the stock market, the numbers that we see today, the numbers we saw yesterday, the numbers we'll see tomorrow are a snapshot of a moment in time. And as President Trump has said, and I'm here to echo the remarks of this president of this White House, we are in a period of economic transition. We are in a period of transition from the mess that was created under Joe Biden in the previous administration. Joe Biden left this country in an economic disaster. Several statistics to point out. The delinquency rate on credit card loans increased 63% under Joe Biden, hitting a near 12-year high. Under Joe Biden, all net job growth went to foreign-born Americans. Real wages declined by 1.5% under Joe Biden. And as we all know, and this administration continues to combat, prices soared more than 20% under Joe Biden because of his reckless spending and economic policies. So we are in a period of transition from that economic nightmare under a president who had no idea what he was doing, never held a private sector job in his life, into a golden age of American manufacturing under a businessman and a deal maker in chief in President Donald J. Trump, who is implementing the formula that we know works. Look at President Trump's results in his first term. If people are looking for certainty, they should look at the record of this president. That's why the American people reelected him back to this office. And look at everything that President Trump has already done and his team has already done in just 51 days. The massive efforts to deregulate, tax cuts, which we need Congress to pass the Trump economic agenda, the Trump tax cuts, which will unleash economic growth. And the president also addressed this directly, I will point out as well, when you look at what he said on Air Force One, and he said he wants the American people to have so much money in their pockets they don't even know what to do with it. That's the intent of this administration.
Ooh, that made me salivate. Thinking about so much money. Do you remember during Donald Trump's first term, it was a money-making opportunity. There was another money-making opportunity specifically in the pandemic era, but this is exciting. This is what's bringing optimism back into the stock market. Although the past couple days the stock market has been tanking, so is crypto. But I'm excited to see all this kind of unfold over the next year, to see where we're at a year from now in regards of economic standings. I think interest rates will drop just a little bit in regards specifically pertaining to housing to increase the inventory, at least that probably won't happen until September-ish, end of the year. But when Donald Trump said that on the airplane, he was like, we're going to be wealthy again as America. Awesome. Patrick said, what a freaking douchebag. Have you ever paid tariffs? I know. Like, what a freaking guy. Patrick says, mess with. My dirty mind goes somewhere else. I know. She's married. She's a beautiful, intelligent woman. So I get it. Oh, man. Gina says, growing pains, but it's pain and service of healing, just like pulling out a splinter. It sucks, but you have to do it. Exactly. Richard said, gas hasn't dropped in Illinois. Could that be because of our wonderful leftist government? Possibly. I know gas prices have dropped some here in Las Vegas in the Valley, and they've dropped somewhat in the Midwest too, like in Arkansas. I know that. Well, no better time like the present to arrest. Yeah, absolutely, Ruth. Yeah. Ruth says, where's Pam Bondi? Radio silent. Patrick says, heck yeah, I knew we were in trouble. If we wanted things to get better, there was going to be pain. I cannot describe the despair we could have been if we had President Harris. Ugh. Could you imagine? It would be more of the same, and we would continue to go in debt as United States. Could you imagine that? We dodged a bullet. Deshaun said, yeah, dropped by 20 cents gas. Yeah, we did. We dodged a bullet. All right. This was sparking the intro webs. Those of you that are new, the internet. I got people in the comments. It's not the intro web. Listen, it's the internet, okay? It's the intro web. It's the internet. We get it. I'm just saying intro webs. It's just what it is. The White House. Elon brought a bunch of Teslas to the White House. Trump says he'll buy a Tesla to show support for Elon. Tesla stocks dropped about 30%. Destruction at the showrooms, destruction on personal properties. It's disgusting to me. But on March 11th, President Donald Trump toured Tesla on Tuesday outside of the White House, and he pledged to buy an electric vehicle to show his support to Elon Musk as Elon Musk faced boycotts for cutting federal spending through the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. Trump and Musk, who is Tesla's chief executive, shopped the Tesla lineup in red, white, and blue outside of the White House. He actually gets into a Tesla. It's great. The photo op comes after Tesla's stock plummeted more than 15% on Monday. Tesla shares prices have dropped more than 40% year to date amid the backlash of Musk's role in the Trump administration. It's funny because all the liberals back in the day, they were like, Tesla, Tesla. We want to get a Tesla. Teslas are cool vehicles. But then Elon started the Department of Government Efficiency, and he's like, yo, the T on the back of Tesla stands for Trump. Oh, great time, everybody. Todd said, great time, everybody, to buy Tesla. Exactly. You know, Teslas are actually pretty decently affordable vehicles for being electric, especially if you get a used one. I think a Tesla Model Y. Yeah, I think a Tesla Model Y is, I think you can pick those up for less than 30 grand. Or Tesla Model 3. Yeah, Tesla Model 3, excuse me. Makes me want to buy a Tesla Model 3. Yeah.
From deep in the heart, this is the Will Cain Show. Right now in Washington, House lawmakers are about to start voting on a spending bill to keep the... Minutes ago, he was outside the White House with Elon Musk and Teslas. Let's listen in.
And the United States, there is no place anywhere in the world that looks like that. It's
Mr. President, it's on Greenland.
And then if you add Greenland, that's even.
I mean, Mr. President, it's going to look beautiful. Tell the CEOs tonight, Mr. President.
Okay.
What are you going to tell the CEOs?
I'm going to look at this. I'm going to make a decision. Do you want to hear what my decision is? Okay. What's your best of these cars? What do you think?
Well, the car that I drive is the Model S Class
Which is that one?
That red one in the middle.
I like that. Yeah.
I like that. It's 0 to 60 miles an hour in 2 seconds. It's faster than a Ferrari.
It's pretty fast. I don't know if my people can handle it. They're going to be using it more. I'm not allowed to use it.
It looks fast.
That's a fast one.
Just to be clear, sir, the 50%, is that going to go into effect on Canada?
Just him watching this, I want to know, when was the last time Donald Trump drove himself?
Or not?
Which one?
The 50% tariffs.
I'll let you know about it. Yeah,
okay.
I'll let you know. But I appreciated his call. I thought it was nice. This is beautiful. Whoa. Should I get in?
Get in.
Yeah. Okay.
Have you ever sat behind the steering wheel of one of these? Of a Tesla?
Do you want my notes?
Yeah.
They gave me notes. I said, I'm not biting. I don't need notes.
I'll take one. I can take it.
Thank you. Let me get into this sector. I'll watch Secret Service go crazy. Thank you.
I mean, if you actually drove it around, it would really be wild.
Wow.
I get into this other side.
That's beautiful. This is a different panel than I've had. Everything's computer. That's beautiful. Wow.
I never thought I'd see the day Donald Trump getting in the driver's seat of a vehicle. He also said that he's going to buy Teslas for the staff as well, just to show support for Elon. Leftist legacy media is erupting, saying Donald Trump is promoting Tesla, blah, blah, blah. But if you remember correctly, Joe Biden did the same thing with Jeep. Joe Biden got in a Jeep Wrangler. Todd said, I bought some Tesla stock. Yeah, might as well, right? Ruth says, gas down here, $3.39 to $2.86 today. Yippee. Yeah. Yep. Deshaun bought XRP. XRP's solid. What's up, Airdrie? Hope you're doing amazing. Steph in the house. Yeah, he drives golf courts only, I think. That's what Todd said. That's funny. Oh, man. There was some cool imagery here of little baby X just picking his nose and having the time of his life.
That's beautiful.
Can you start it?
Should I? Buy one of those. We'll pass. We're too old-fashioned.
Yeah. So, Mr. President, when you look at the market selling off, that didn't concern you, and where do you see it going?
Doesn't concern me. I think some people are going to make great deals by buying stocks and bonds and all the things they're buying. I think we're going to have an economy that's a real economy, not a fake economy. It was a fake economy. They were putting in all government jobs. You see what happened last month? We had more real jobs, and government jobs are way down. That's going to continue. Those are real jobs. Those are jobs that keep the country going. You can't have all government jobs. You have no income to pay the workers.
Yeah.
And a lot of those workers didn't show up to work. That was the other problem.
And President Trump, there's this protest leader from Columbia University that the administration is moving to deport. And he said that his arrest is going to be the first of many. How many?
I think we ought to get them all out of the country. They're troublemakers. They're agitators. They don't love our country. We ought to get him the hell out. I think that guy, we ought to get him. I heard his statements too. They were plenty bad. And I think we ought to get him the hell out of the country. I watched him. I watched tapes. Specifically, I watched tapes. And you can have them, okay? You can have them. And you can have the rest of them. Let them go to school. Let them learn. Columbia used to be a good school. Now it's been overrun because of bad leadership. That's what happens. Happens to countries, and it happens to universities, and it happens to companies. And I don't want it to happen to a guy that did nothing wrong. He did everything right because he did a great company. But what he did by coming into government to help government from years of abuse, from decades of abuse, and you see that when you look at Social Security, where you have 200-year-old people on the rolls of society. That's just, he uses the word care. People don't care. Everyone knows that. But it's also, I believe it's also large fraud. I think it's that, but I think it's also large fraud. I'm just telling people, this man is a great patriot, and you should cherish him. You should cherish him. You know, I have a little statement. We have to take care of our high IQ people because we don't have too many of them.
Mr. President,
and we got to take care of them.
And as you guys look at the Social Security Administration and you guys are looking for fraud and waste and abuse, can you guarantee people who are concerned about an interruption to benefits that there will not be? Yes, we're going to be very careful with any interruption to benefits. In fact, only by tackling the waste and fraud in entitlements like Social Security, Medicare, can we actually preserve those programs for the future. Because with unchecked fraud and waste, we won't be able to afford them. The president's very dedicated to solving the budget deficit, which if we don't solve the budget deficit, we're going to go bankrupt as a country. If we go bankrupt as a country, there's no Social Security, there's no Medicare, there's no nothing. And to sort of echo what the president was saying, what really matters is moving people from jobs that are
low productivity in government to high productivity in the private sector, increasing the true output of products and services. That's the real economy. That's what actually enables Americans to have a higher standard of living, and that's what's happening. And that's, I think, you'll see the truth of that in the months to come.
And we're going to make it really much stronger by taking people that don't exist or taking people that shouldn't be there out, by taking illegal aliens that are on Social Security or Medicaid and Medicare. By taking them out, we're making it much stronger. The country will be much stronger, but it's going to really be stronger economically. And when you look at what we're doing, I've been called by so many companies. Yesterday, as you know, I had a meeting with some of the biggest tech companies in the world. And all they're talking about, IBM was there. We had a lot of them. Michael Dell was there. We had a lot of great companies, Hewlett Packard. And all they're talking about is investing in this country. They want to be sure, don't forget, they're looking down the road 10 years and 15 years. They want to make sure we have a strong country. They're all coming in. As you know, Apple, Tim Cook, he said that he's going to invest $500 billion in the United States. He never did that before. He invested in China. He's got his plants in China. And now he's got them, going to be building them in the United States. And if I didn't have victory in that election, we wouldn't be doing it. And if I didn't say what I'm saying, and I'm being very honest, and it's much more difficult than just sitting around and having a great time. It's a very glamorous position if you want to do that. We could have kept it, but eventually bad things would have happened. This way.
The United States, trillions of dollars in debt. Shout out to DLW. She says, love your show. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you joining the live chat today. Thomas said, did he say 0 to 60 in 2.7 seconds? I think the Plaid goes 0 to 60 in 1 second. Let me just double check that. Tesla, Plaid. Zero to 60, Thomas. Tesla Plaid, 1.9 seconds. That is freaking fast. I think the Cybertruck also is under 2 seconds as well. I'll double check that right now. And the Cybertruck weight is massive. Oh, sorry. Cybertruck 0 to 60 in 2.2 seconds in beast mode. Dual motor Cybertruck. And the weight of that thing is 6,000 pounds, 6,634 pounds. So that is a write-off. That is a business write-off. That's the only thing that Trump's good at, driving a golf cart. Yeah. And the economy. Let's see. I'm just running through the chat. Yeah, those Todd says those Tesla trucks are awesome. I like those Tesla trucks too. I think they're pretty cool. Price is a little high, but I think they're really neat. Terry says he can buy my broke behind one too. That's funny. Imagine a golden Tesla golf cart. I think I saw some renderings online about a Tesla golf cart, but yeah, it's funny. There's a video of a guy who put a Tesla 3 engine in a Polaris, holy tamale, in a Polaris RZR. Those of you that aren't familiar with the Polaris RZR, they're like all-terrain 2x2s or 2x4s, 2 people sitting or 4 people sitting. They're like they're all-terrain, basically like golf carts, if you would. That's crazy. I'm just running through the chat. As soon as I watch the Dems crying and screaming about Doge is doing, yeah, it shows that they're hiding a lot. Absolutely. Absolutely. Holy crap, I got a bunch. Yeah, the Tesla trucks are like 100K. It's a good write-off, though, if you got a business. But I've driven a Porsche nearly all my life. This is what Thomas says. Thomas writes, I've driven a Porsche nearly all my life, and I will admit that is impressive. Scott Jennings got a raise, guys. Scott Jennings nukes CNN panel about this stent, this quote-unquote Tesla dealership at the White House. Listen to this.
But the president is clearly trying to do his friend, political donor, actually government employee, a pretty big favor here for his private business.
It's hardly the first time we've had cars on the South Lawn. Man, here's a video of Joe Biden driving a Jeep Rubicon around the South Lawn. I mean, it's pretty common.
And President Trump did it before in his first term as well.
It's pretty common for the President of the United States to boost American industries, American-made products, and companies that are, employing Americans. It's extremely common. He obviously has a close relationship with Elon, who, by the way, is, I think, unfairly under attack. And this company is unfairly under attack. You have these insane people all over the country chasing people down in their Teslas in New York City. I had a friend who tried to trade his Tesla in New York the other day, and there were protesters screaming at his children.
Look,
These
I mean,
people
I
are
think
unhinged,
there is some
and they
insanity
deserve
happening.
support from the
But
government.
let's be clear. Let's not skirt over the fact that Elon Musk spent $250 million to elect Donald Trump.
So you're against an American company?
No, that's not.
What about Soros?
You don't want the government to support this?
What about Soros? What about George Soros? George Soros bought all the radio stations. Alex Soros. Etot says, my ex Tesla beat my Challenger Hellcat. Those Hellcats go screaming fast, man. I like those things too. A Tesla could probably beat the Hellcat in a quarter mile, but not long term, right? Because they run out of steam and they top out. But the Hellcat would probably win in the long term, but not in the short term. Rob says, happy birthday to your wonderful mom. Yeah, she's been blowing me up this entire life. I don't know what's going on. But I called her several times this morning. She didn't answer. And then now she's trying to call me back. I want to get that Model 3 Performance. Yeah, that model. Deshaun says, I want to get that Model 3 Performance. I like those. I like the Model 3. I like the X. My buddy has an X. Cool car. I just like the doors in the back. It looks like a minivan, but the doors, the way that they swing open, looks super cool. But the Model, what is it? The Model X, the Model Y, I believe it is. Yeah, the Model Y is the smaller one. I like that one too. I'm not paying 100 G's for Cybertruck though. I'll catch that in a couple years. Used. Thomas says, a Tesla golf cart going 0 to 60 in 2.2 seconds. That would be bananas. Get through those holes pretty quick. You'd be flying. You put some wings on that golf cart, that thing would be flying across the golf cart. Catherine says, yeah, the Y is sweet. I like the Model Y. Catherine says, Soros with the funding of the USAID. There's a huge scandal going on with Elon pushing claims, presumably, right, for the YouTube purposes, saying, hey, Soros-backed funding is funding these protests in front of these dealerships. And we saw that with the Black Lives Matter stuff as well. The Y is sweet. Deshaun says the X are nice. Yeah. Yeah, that would be a great game of golf if you had the Tesla golf cart. Holy tamale. Lutnick defends Donald Trump tariffs. This is a long interview, but I broke it up here. Let me just jump to this screen here. So Lutnick was on CBN. It's all the same. CBS, excuse me. He was on CBS, and here's what he had to say.
Businesses to plan for the long term, even the short term, when policies out of Washington are changing every day.
When I ran my business, when my biggest client in the world said something to me, you know what I said? Yes. I said yes right away. When your biggest, think about it, the biggest trading partner in the whole world that is vital to Canada's existence says, I'm unhappy, and they respond negatively. You know why? Because for 20 years, 30 years, they've gotten away with it. right? It's like Ukraine. They came in. You imagine coming into this country, sitting in the Oval Office, having received $300 billion in aid from us, and military, and NATO, and all the rest, and the first words out of your mouth aren't, thank you. Just say thank you. God knows, just say thank you. When the biggest client, the biggest trading partner, the most important counterparty you have, who really, really matters to you, the first thing you do is show immeasurable respect. Say thank you. I want to work it out with you. I want you to be happy. And that's what Donald Trump is going to make everybody realize. We feed the world. Please be kind to us. Don't open your border. Imagine Mexico allows caravans down their highways to break into America. And they then say, you're really important to us. It seems very disrespectful. How about we don't have to build a wall? You build the wall. You want to trade with us? You want all this economic power to come to you? How about Mexico? You build the wall. So when the first time in his first term, he said Mexico would pay for the wall, you know who's guarding the wall right now? 11,000 Mexican troops are guarding the wall because they care about America, and they care about America when Donald Trump's in the White House.
You talk about respect, but here's what the president said just this morning about our closest trading partner. He said that he's going to impose tariffs that will permanently shut down the Canadian car industry. Why is it in America's interest to destroy one of Canada's biggest industries?
Okay, so let's go back a little. Number one, the Ontario Premier threatened energy against America. You can't threaten.
But
an
he was
American.
responding to what you did.
No. He wasn't, and he knows he wasn't, and he knows he made a mistake, and he withdrew it. The president gave USMCA, the agreement with USMCA, he said, I'll let that remain tariff-free, but anybody who's not in USMCA is going to pay a tariff until fentanyl deaths end in America. Try not to forget, March is about fentanyl deaths in America. We've got to end it. And then let's talk about cars just for a minute. Once upon a time, cars were made in Detroit and in Ohio, Michigan and Ohio. And NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement, another way to say NAFTA is Destroy Michigan and Ohio Agreement. What they did is they took these car companies and they moved them to Mexico and Canada. Why? Canada, we just want to have unions. Mexico, cheaper labor. And how about the auto workers who lived in Ohio and Michigan? Ruin their lives. Ruin their lives. You know what the worst statistic that I know is? The workforce of the United States of America, 2/3 is high school educated, 1/3 is college educated. The life expectancy of my high school educated workforce is 7 years lower. Makes me want to cry. Why? Why is it 7 years lower? It's not the air we breathe. It's not the food. It's not the medicine. It's despair. If I move your factory where your grandfather worked and your father worked and you plan to work, and I move that factory to Canada, your life is ruined.
Yeah. I was talking to somebody from Detroit a couple weeks ago, and Detroit is rebuilding, but they took all those factories out, and that was their main source of economic stability in Detroit, were these factories and the factory workers. This is what helped stabilize the economy in Detroit. And you take that away, and you saw what that did. It destroyed Detroit. It destroyed the auto manufacturing industry. And then you outsource these vehicles to Mexico, and the quality control is significantly lower. I'm a huge proponent. Me personally, I like American-made vehicles. I also know I also have a Japanese-made vehicle, a Honda and a GMC. GMC, they outsourced a lot of their parts to the GMC to Japan, and they're cheap parts. With my Denali, it's a flex fuel, and they use cheap Japanese parts that always continuously break with the flex fuel situation. So, Etod says, Lutnick is 100% right on this. Etod also writes, Yes, our UAW workers got screwed. They did. They did. NAFTA is a nightmare. It killed Oldsmobile and Pontiac. Yep. $42, boom.
You'd say, cool. I'm glad that's the guy in the White House, and that's what we've got.
The president does seem like he's preparing the nation for some short-term pain. He calls it a disturbance. How much pain should Americans brace for? How much will inflation go up, and for how long?
Okay, if you balance the budget, it's not inflation. Tariffs do not create inflation. Printing extra money creates inflation. Like I try to describe it, if we all had $1 trillion, and that's all the money that was there, okay? And your shoes had a tariff, and my shoes didn't, then my shoes would just be cheaper than yours. But that's not inflation. Whereas if I give everybody $2 trillion, both our shoes are more expensive, right now, right away. So printing less money is less inflation, okay? Tariffs make American-made goods cheaper. Imagine saying that. I saw someone complain this morning, a construction company was complaining this morning, and they said, now we have to buy American lumber and hire American people. And he was complaining, and I thought, now that's humor. Sure, you can't find in the world something cheaper, but you might have to hire an American. And you know what, if you have to pay him a little more, that's what President Trump is all about. Pay our people more to live in our economy. You want to leech off our economy? You want to breathe off our economy? Okay, help us. Build here, hire Americans, and if you got to pay them a little more, we're Americans. We deserve it.
When President Trump was running, he said multiple times he was going to bring down inflation on day one. Was that hyperbole?
It's not. Driving down energy prices is key. Driving down interest rates is key. Where are interest rates now? Lower. Where are egg prices? Lower. He's going to drive down energy. He needs to drive down interest rates. Those are the key drivers, right? Food, we're going to bring it down. The way we're going to bring down food in the big picture is there are so many countries who block our farmers, our ranchers, and our fishermen. They just block us. If we unblock it, and they can produce more volume, they produce it at a lower price.
If you're worried about the deficit and the debt, why extend the Trump tax cuts? That's trillions of dollars right there.
Taxing Americans. Putting a $4 trillion tax hike on Americans is like, what's the term? The opposite of Donald Trump. He wants to bring down the Internal Revenue Service, and those Democrats who say, oh, let's raise taxes on all Americans. That's the more taxes from the Internal Revenue Service. Listen to Donald Trump. He said, I created the External Revenue Service to have other people pay, not Americans. It's time.
Annette says Detroit houses 10 Gs. Yeah, they were like 10 Gs back then. They were. Seibel, I believe I said that correctly, writes, it also killed the textile industry when they pushed everything out. Allen Wood Steel closed when I was in high school. A lot of my friends' dads lost their jobs when they were growing up. Yeah, that was a gnarly time. Patrick Kennedy writes, bring home American steel, bring home American aluminum, bring home American manufacturing. Second order effects. Those workers buy American farmers' food. They'll go out to eat at dinners, which can. Todd says, people anti-tariffs are so out of touch. I couldn't agree with you more. I couldn't agree with you more. Patrick Kennedy writes, hire teenagers to work entry-level jobs. Exactly. My pop said to me, for a young age, always buy American. Yep. DL writes, why is Pam Bondi and Kash Patel so complacent? What happened to all the claims after those that break the law? They honestly have been a little weak. I feel that way too. I feel that they've been But I gave an analogy about Kash Patel and Pam Bondi. You know, they're jumping on new captains as a ship when the crew hates them. And it's hard to get the crew, everybody else in line, rowing at the same speed when the crew doesn't like them. So they got to get rid of the crew. Thomas writes, reason was parts of manufacturing became unionized, resulting in higher prices, thus open up alternatives and cheaper markets. Yep. Patrick Kennedy writes, the dollar must flow. Why do you think they call it currency? Exactly. Yep. We want the money to flow. We want it to flow in America, not somewhere else. Exactly. Exactly. Now, here is VA Secretary Doug Collins addressing this journalist trying to file claims about veterans care. Listen to this.
Thing, Patricia, I really need to know. One of the things that I've been finding, we got into it a little bit in the discussion, but one of the issues that we're having is, and it's something here, I need your help on something. I need your help because all I seem to be doing lately is fighting back against innuendo and rumor stories. And this is what I seem to be fighting about all the time. In fact, Patricia, part of it is with you.
I'm sure.
And I just need your help because when you start headlines with, there's a rumor going around and that we've heard that hurts my veterans. That scares my veterans. That scares my employees because it's not true. Will you commit to not doing that in the future?
Well, there was a DOJ representative that day.
I have a VA employee who is our DOJ liaison. You knew that and you could ask that question.
I did ask that
But
question.
when you got the answer. But my question here is, I need you to commit to not starting off rumors began circulating.
I mean,
well, if
that's
it's either true or false, Patricia, and then you go to Patty Murphy, saying that we've heard and we have made DOJ may have barged into the VA today. Unconfirmed hearsay. You know what you'd have done if I was a member of Congress and probably done that? Unconfirmed report. But you didn't put unconfirmed report.
Right.
So Patricia, I want to work together with you.
Okay.
But I need you to commit to me that you're not going to do this.
I'm working on it, and I have been oh, actually, I have another question based on that. Thank you very much.
No, I want to hear the answer first. Are you committing not to do rumors? Because you're scaring my VA employees about this.
That's fair.
And you're scaring my veterans.
Yeah,
That's unforgivable. That's not something I
But
take
if
lightly.
a rumor is different than if I have a source.
Then you source it to our PR people and let them know. Because you know something, I've got people who are reporting stuff right now who aren't even calling us. They don't even get something from. They don't even call us to check it.
Well, that's not right.
Well, this isn't right either.
Okay. Well, that's fair. But I did call about that.
Good.
I did call about
And you got the answer, but yet you still report it as a rumor.
Well, I didn't.
Okay. Which is it? Which is it? Is it a rumor or is you get confirmed?
Was that there is a DOJ person there.
There is.
That was the
Okay.
lead.
Nobody
Second
has hid that from you. Nobody. We answered it, but it was reported as a rumor. I mean, think about
take
this.
issue with parsing out
you know,
my stuff,
in
but that's
the headline of the story,
I don't write the
Elon
headlines.
Musk. Hey, I don't care who
I don't
wrote it.
write
You're
the headlines. I know. I have
but
to
your
push
byline.
back. I'm
It's your
starting
byline.
to push back on those, and I
Okay,
have.
but you think about what it says here. Elon Musk aide is now working at VA accessing computer systems. Ooh. And that's
That's a true statement.
No, it is because you know what? We don't make a DOJ employee, which is funny because they're VA employees, a liaison. We don't also give them a.
I was not told that.
We don't give.
I was not told
But
there
you
was
wrote
a
the
DOJ
article.
liaison. It
You wrote
told
the
there
article.
was a DOJ employee, one DOJ employee.
As we look at this, Patricia, I want you to know something. When you look at this headline and you're accessing computer systems, I want to work with you a lot as we go forward. We're going to have a lot of time together.
That's fair.
But I'm not going to have any reporter scaring my employees and scaring the veterans. And that's what this is doing. Let's get it right. I'm the most transparent VA secretary we've had yet. I'm on video. I'm on interviews. I do everything I possibly can to push back against everything I'm hearing. So we got a team that will help you, but I need your commitment to help me too. Okay?
Oh man. I am glad that the team, just in general, the Trump administration, has the balls, the testicular fortitude to say something to these leftist legacy media reporters. Hey, listen, you're writing BS. You're writing bull crap. You're scaring the veterans. Karoline Leavitt has big lady balls to stand up to reporters during White House press briefings. Todd said, this back when Reagan was president, American cars, only 5% went to South Pacific and Europe. We need to take, Patrick Kennedy says, we need to take a serious look at veteran care. There are tons of waste there. When I was discharged in 2003, I went through the hoops and hurdles and got nothing. We need to stop giving out free money. Yeah. I don't know if you got your veterans disability benefits yet, but my buddy just got like 90% on his veterans benefits, disability benefits. But yeah, I have another friend who just got out of the military after serving 30-something years in the military, and he's been going through hoops to get stuff handled. Todd says, our vets should come before anyone else. I agree. Before they send millions and millions of dollars to California to help the homeless crisis, help the veterans, help with mental health, help with all these other things. I agree. All right, Linda McMahon suplexing the bloat in the education system. Those of you that don't know, Linda McMahon is Vince McMahon's, I think, ex-wife or current wife situation. I don't know what kind of arrangement they have. But U.S. Secretary of Education Linda McMahon vowed on Tuesday on Fox to end the bureaucracy bloat within the Department of Education to fulfill President Trump's mandate. Since Trump's first campaign in 2015, President has sought to cut federal spending in the U.S. Department of Education, criticizing Common Core and the Ingram angle. The newly confirmed secretary was asked by Fox, Laura Ingram, if recent cuts in staff are the first step for a total shutdown. They shut down a lot of these offices as well, shut down a lot of folks. Linda McMahon's not going to be having a job here shortly, but that was the goal.
All right. First, welcome to the show, because you haven't been on in studio with me before. Now, is this the first step on the road to a total shutdown?
Yes, actually it is, because that was the president's mandate. His directive to me clearly is to shut down the Department of Education, which we know we'll have to work with Congress, to get that accomplished. But what we did today was to take the first step of eliminating what I think is bureaucratic bloat. And that's not to say that a lot of the folks, it's a humanitarian thing too. A lot of the folks that are there, they're out of a job. But we wanted to make sure that we kept all of the right people, the good people, to make sure that the outward-facing programs, the grants, the appropriations that come from Congress, all of that are being met, and none of that's going to fall through the cracks.
So that was my next question. So the criteria for keeping that 50% is related to expenditures and key programs?
Correct. Like Congress appropriates the money that is going through Title I, through IDEA programs.
What's that stand for?
You know what? I'm not sure I can tell you exactly what it stands for, except that it's the programs for disabled and needs.
Individuals with Disabilities Act, I think. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm guessing. I don't know. I don't know all my acronyms. I've been here for 30 years.
This is my fifth day on the job, and I'm really trying to learn them very quickly.
Right. It's a lot. So reports today said that the buildings were going to be closed for security reasons. What does that mean?
Well, when people left today and they got their notification to take their laptops and their phones home with them, and we didn't want part of the people who were being permanently let go, and those who are remaining to some of them show up to work tomorrow morning.
That's standard corporate
so
practice.
So it's just standard corporate practice that we just locked the doors and said for those that are coming back, we'll know that they'll be coming back on Thursday morning.
Were people given a chance to take any personal effects?
They were told that they will be allowed to come back. We would arrange for them to come back and take their personal effects with them, and to say goodbye to some folks too.
Randy Weingarten, you're shocked. I know you two are catching dinner in about 20 minutes, but she actually commented about what's going on here. Watch.
Think about a country whose president basically says, I'm getting rid of education. What does that say about the future? So many people are so mad about it because they're just taking opportunity away from kids that don't have it. So billionaires, kids of billionaires, they have it.
Let's stay on the facts.
Sorry.
No,
I'm
do
really
not
angry
apologize.
about this.
No, because this
I'm
is what
really
people need
angry.
to-
Your reaction?
Well, clearly we're not taking away education. The president never said that. He's taken the bureaucracy out of education so that more money flows to the states. Better education is closest to the kids, with parents, with local superintendents, with local school boards. I think we'll see our scores go up with our students when we can educate them with parental input as well.
Well,
Linda McMahon on the Department of Education.
But one of the issues that we're having is, and
let me just pause that real quick. On the Department of Education, she's going to be out of a job soon, but that was her goal. Etod says, thank you to everyone in the chat who served our country 100%. Patrick Kennedy says, I have all my fingers and toes. I can work. It took me some decades to realize I don't need or want a handout. I fought for America. I don't want to hurt us. Kudos. Kudos to you. Etod says, she was the brains. Linda McMahon was the brains behind WWF and WWE. WWE is the same thing as WWF. But I'm just saying that. I said that. Yeah, she was. She was. I think Vince took a lot of unique, creative calls. WWE has gotten a lot better. Thomas says, Trump made, where did it go? Trump made that possible veterans are allowed free access to medical care and not limited only to VA services. Yeah, Catherine says, Vegas has its share of bloat. Yeah, it's a whole nother situation. Patrick Kennedy writes, we all pay property tax for schools. That is local. That is local, a local tax. Let local run the schools. I agree. All right. Trump's shocking plan about his big plan to take over Greenland. Trump shocked an update with his plan to take over Greenland. I think we need to take care of America first, but it's Donald Trump. Donald Trump says the people of Greenland should decide if they want to decouple from Denmark, although Donald Trump has made it clear he desires to purchase the Danish territory. Some recent statements suggest he does not intend to use military tactics to force the issue. President Trump wrote on Truth Social that he wants approximately 56,000 people who live in Greenland to determine what they want. He mentioned on social media and statement on how Denmark, which is authorized over the Arctic island, plays into the decision. Both Greenland also made it clear during the joint address to Congress that the United States strongly supports people of Greenland's right to decision of their own future. But then this is what he said. Listen to this. Oh, another ad. We're going to wait until that ad rolls through.
Hey, where's that game we always play?
I don't know, but with Ring I can find it. Board game. Oh man.
Huh.
You know
Oh, I
what?
can't
There are
even-
other games.
If I may, search raccoons.
Let me see.
What is going on? Oh, here it is.
Oh, look, the masquerade.
There it is. Trump stated on Truth Social, as I made it clear in joint blah, blah, blah. I already read that. Let's jump into this video as soon as this ad's done. course, it's going to do that.
Girls' night. Am I right? Nope. Okay.
Here we go.
As you try to references to Greenland and the Panama Canal, so forth, can you assure the world that as you try to get control of these areas, you are not going to use military or economic coercion?
No.
And can you tell us a little bit about what your plan is? Are you going to negotiate a new treaty?
You can't hear the reporter, but
Are you going to
let me fast forward.
But I can say this, we need them for economic security. The Panama Canal was built for our military. I'm not going to commit to that now. It might be that you'll have to do something. Look, the Panama Canal is vital to our country. It's being operated by China. China. And we gave the Panama Canal to Panama. We didn't give it to China. And they've abused it. They've abused that gift. It should have never been made, by the way. Giving the Panama Canal is why Jimmy Carter lost the election, in my opinion, more so maybe than the hostages. The hostages were a big deal. But if you remember, and nobody wants to talk about the Panama Canal now because, you know, it's inappropriate, I guess, but because it's a bad part of the Carter legacy. But he was a good man. Look, he was a good man. I knew him a little bit, and he was a very fine person, but that was a big mistake. Giving the Panama Canal to Panama was a very big mistake. We lost 38,000 people. It cost us the equivalent of $1 trillion, maybe more than that. Probably the most expensive, they say it was the most expensive structure, if we call it a structure, which I guess you can, ever built. And giving that away was a horrible thing. And I believe that's why Jimmy Carter lost the election.
Ghost of Vermont says, love it when Trump talks about Greenland. It drives people nuts and it's pretty satisfying. Yeah, it is. It is. Utah bans fluoride in public water. This is another major win here, guys. RFK, Utah bans fluoride in public water. Utah Governor Spencer J. Cox said he will sign Utah bill banning fluoride water statewide. The move will be historic.
I need to talk about this controversial fluoride bill that you haven't signed yet. We have made national news because of our passing of removing fluoride in our counties. Will you end up signing that?
Yeah, I will end up signing that. Look, we've half the state has not had their water fluoridated. I grew up and lived and raised my kids in a place that doesn't have fluoride in the water, and so we ran this natural experiment. Again, you think you would see drastically different outcomes with half the state not getting it and half the state getting it. I've talked to a lot of dentists. We haven't seen that, so it's got to be a really high bar for me if we're going to require people to be medicated by their government. And what they also did was make it easier for families to get fluoride. If that's what you want to do, you can get it. So, it's not a bill I felt strongly about. It's not a bill I care that much about, but it's a bill I will sign.
Well,
Fluoride effects. This is a big win. This is a big win. Bright Star says make it nationwide. Make it federal. That's what, sorry. Bright Star says, woo, 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 make it federal. Thomas said the United States needs access to Greenland. Russia is in the process of completing 10 military bases in the Arctic Circle. Trump wants to establish America's military presence there as well. Patrick Kenny says, Trump knows the art of the deal. Greenland is closer to independence from yesterday's vote. It will be up to Greenland if they want to associate with the U.S. or the EU. All right. You guys remember this here? You guys remember her? Rosie O'Donnell. Rosie O'Donnell moves away. She says she's moving away. This was iconic here.
You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your Twitter account...
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
No, it wasn't. You've called women you don't like...
Rosie O'Donnell said that she's moving. She's moving away. Not that anybody cares, but Rosie O'Donnell's moving to Ireland. Vows never to return until America's safe. What the heck what the hell happened to Rosie O'Donnell? Holy tamale. Rosie O'Donnell finally followed through with her pledge to leave the United States. Posting on TikTok, she said she had taken it. She's taken her 12-year-old child, I can't believe she has a 12-year-old, with her to Ireland and won't be returning to America until it's safe. Blah, 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 blah. What happened to Rosie O'Donnell?
Well, hey, everybody. It's me, Rosie O'Donnell, star of the Flintstones.
Oh, my gosh. I can't even watch this. But this is a huge win for the United States. Poor Ireland, right? Here's what Donald Trump had to say about it at the Oval Office today.
Fun-loving people, great attitude, many in this room right now that I've met. Why in the world would you let Rosie O'Donnell move to Ireland? I think she's going to lower your happiness level.
That's true. Thank you. I like that question.
Mr.
You know you have Rosie
Are you expecting?
Do you know who she is? Yeah.
I'm joking.
You're better off not. You're better off not knowing.
President Trump.
He thought that Ireland will boot that butch Rosie out no time. Oh, because she can't keep her mouth shut. That is hilarious. Poor Ireland. They don't deserve this. That's what Patrick Kennedy says. What happened to her? She is looking rough. Holy crap. I get she's older, but holy crap. What happened to her? What happened to Rosie? Stephanie says, Rosie isn't looking too rosy. Ricardo says, yes. When you spew nastiness, that's what happens. You get out of here. They're going to kick her out of Ireland too. Oh, man. Herpes, that's what happened to Rosie. Rot in the brain. That is... Yeah, funny thing, nobody is going to miss her. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, man. Rosie O'Donnell is out of here. She's... I thought that was her yeah, because she was posting videos of this kid. I thought that was her grandma too. But I guess she has an 11-year-old. I don't know with who, because I wouldn't touch that. Just my personal opinion, but Ghost of Vermont says, wow, Rosie is looking rough. Stephanie says, rotisserie. Oh, man. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. All right, guys. If you're catching this on the replay, type in replay in the comment section down below. And for those of you that caught this on the live, shout out to everybody catching this on the live. Really, really appreciate you guys. Shout out to the moderators in the chat. Moderators in the chat. Awesome, awesome. I got to get jumping because I got a meeting in about 1 minute. So this was perfect timing. I'll be back later today with a pre-recorded video. Shout out to everybody. Drop your comments down below and do me a favor, smash the like button on your way out if you kindly would. It really, really helps with the dreaded battle with the YouTube algorithms. Shout out to all the vets. That's what Todd says. Moderators in the chat. We got some of the best chat, I think. I love it. I love it. If you want to connect with some more of these Patriots outside of the chat, there's a Discord link in the description down below. Go ahead and check that out. You can chat with them on the daily, on the regular. Anyways, do me a favor, smash the like button, share, subscribe, and I will catch you guys on the next one. It was a lot of fun today. Appreciate you guys.